Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lifestyle Newborn Photography Made Easy. This is the updated webinar, and I'm very excited to share it with you today because I think that you are really going to enjoy it. But before I go any further, it's very important that we talk about who the heck am I? I think that there are so many options online from educators, which is a good thing, but it's very important that you know a little bit about who you are learning from. You really want to know that they're on the journey that you think you want to be on and that they have done some of the things that you think you might want to do. And you also want to know a little bit about their personality and how they got where they are today. So that's what I'm going to tell you. So my name is Elena Sanchez Blair. I was born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but I have lived in Seattle, Washington for 22 years. I moved here to go to Seattle University for undergraduate, and I became a registered nurse. So I was a newborn intensive care nurse for about 10 years, actually a little over 10 years, and there was about a 5-year overlap with my photography career. A little more on that in a bit. I am the mother of 4 children. One of them came through my heart. The other 3 came through my body. And I am recently remarried. We have a nice and big modern family. And I've kind of been through a lot on the personal journey, but I've really arrived on the other side and learned so much about who I am and about love and life. And I never cease to share the truth. So you'll learn that about me. I've been photographing families and newborns since 2010, so 12 years, really 2009, but officially 2010 did I go into business. And in 2019, I photographed 180 families. That was my highest volume year. And this past year, 2021, I photographed about 75. 2020, I photographed about 100. So I am very much still a working photographer. Of the shoots that I do about 3 to 4 newborns a month. So I have a pretty regular flow of newborn photography. Newborn photography is very much something that is very close and dear to my heart, seeing as I used to be a NICU nurse. You are going to hear lots of different things about newborn photography when you go on your quest to becoming a newborn photographer. And the truth is, the really popular way to photograph newborns is in a very traditional way. And I'm going to go into what that means a little bit more in a moment. But really traditional photography, more posing, props and all of that. And a lot of people tend to stray from newborn photography because they think that is the only way. And so my hope is that at the end of this webinar, you will see that there is another way and that there is an approach to that way. It's called lifestyle photography. Obviously, you're here, and I'll give you some steps that you can really start putting into action right away. So what are you going to learn today? You're going to learn what the heck lifestyle newborn photography is. You're going to learn what you need to run a lifestyle newborn session, key considerations for a great lifestyle newborn session. You're going to learn a thing or two about prepping your clients before a shoot, because I believe that that's very, very important, essential really. You are going to learn my exact shot list. So you could step into a home right after this webinar and go step by step using my shot list. And you're going to learn about my newborn posing strategy, which is called baby-led posing. So why lifestyle newborn photography? This is a photograph of my little girl. Her name is Marlo. She's going to be 8 in June. So this is an old photograph, clearly. And this is her and why I approach newborn photography in the lifestyle way. When she was born, I had a very busy photography business. I was still working a little bit as a nurse. I quit when she was about 6 months old. I transitioned into being a photographer full-time at that time. And when she was born, I was starting to think that maybe I was going to let newborn photography go and only focus on family photography. Why? Because I was becoming extremely burnt out and unfulfilled in my approach to newborn photography. I was posing them. I was showing up to homes with a beanbag and a background stand and lots of props, bags and bags of props. And I hated it. I didn't really realize what was going on until Marlo was born. She was about 3 days old, super sleepy. And so I did what any newborn photographer would do, and I set up my beanbag and I set up my props and my stand, and I put her on that beanbag, posed her. Now, I'm going to tell you a little tiny thing about me as a mother. I am a mom who is an attachment parent. I wear my babies. I breastfeed them until they are like 3 years old. I birthed my little girls at home. I am a crunchy granola mother. It made no sense to have my naked baby sitting by herself in a pose that was unnatural to her simple beauty. And at that moment, it became completely clear to me what had been going on. I was unfulfilled in newborn photography because it was out of alignment with who I was as a person. I swooped Marlo up. I did not take one photograph, and I decided right then and there that I was going to rebrand and become a 100% lifestyle newborn photographer. And let me tell you what happened. My lifestyle newborn photography business exploded. I was able to leave my day job as a nurse when she was about 6 months old. And that was a lot of other factors. I have a very busy family photography business as well, and a school photography business. But everything really aligned when I realized it was because I was approaching it in a way that was not meaningful for me. And I owe Marlo that. So what is lifestyle newborn photography? What I've learned to do is take any family or any newborn in any home with any dynamic, no matter what they look like or what the ages of their kids are or where they are in life, and I can show them that they are beautiful. I have no expectations of the newborn. The newborn can be awake, asleep, fussy. It's all fine. I've learned how to direct families in a way that creates opportunities for genuine connection, which allows me to create imagery that really evokes a real emotion. I don't want a surface photo of a baby in an unnatural position with a prop that distracts from the pure beauty that is a newborn, a prop that maybe isn't even meaningful to that family member. I don't want to make babies into something that they are not. A baby doesn't need to have bunny ears or bee costume to be beautiful. I think newborns are perfect as they are. I want to capture a little piece of humanity, and I'm going to give you my approach to lifestyle newborn portraits. Newborn photography is intimate. These people are letting you into their lives, and in my case, into their homes, during one of the most intense and intimate times of their life. They just had a baby. So if only for an hour, even if they're only letting you in for that short amount of time, they're letting you in. I really believe that it is important to capture what they are going through and the simple beauty that is a newborn. So I want you to raise your internet hand if you are already a newborn photographer. Maybe you're just getting started in newborn photography. Maybe you're just curious about this genre. Or if you pose newborns and you run a shoot in a normal, traditional way. If you're new to this phrase that is lifestyle. And I'm just saying raise your hand because I want you to just feel like we're here together, working together. If this is you, this is the right place for you. You can be in any point of your journey and you're going to learn something from this webinar, from this little talk that I'm going to give you, this little slice of something that is so meaningful to me. Now, we are visual people, and so I'm going to show you a slideshow of my work so that you can get a sense of what I am talking about when I mean lifestyle newborn photography, because I can explain it until I'm blue in the face, but you're a photographer, you're going to want to see it.
Flavor, you would be my favorite one. It's not about your scars. It's all about your heart.
So, in my opinion, I hope you enjoyed that little video, by the way, or that little slideshow, I mean. But in my opinion, it is more meaningful and more laid back. These families are going through a lot of changes. I've had 3 newborns. I know what it's like. So, it's pretty stressful when you have a newborn. Even if you've got it all figured out or you have lots of help, it's an emotional and stressful time. And lifestyle photography, it uses a strategy called baby-led posing, like I said, and it focuses more on the family connection. And it really allows for the family to have a laid back, meaningful, stress free photography experience. I always want to think, what would you want to remember? I have a deep rooted respect for my fellow newborn artists out there who photograph newborns in a posed traditional way, but that's not me. I don't want to remember my baby on a beanbag in an outfit that isn't hers, like what I experienced with Marlo. I want to remember what it felt like to hold that baby in my arms, what they sounded like and smelled like. I want to remember the beauty and intensity of that time. I think that a lot of photographers fear newborn photography. They worry that it's going to need to take 4 hours, that they're going to need all these props, that they're going to need artificial light, all of these things. They're believing all these myths that the baby has to be asleep and overfed. None of that is true. I am here to tell you that none of that is true. And that if you are a family photographer and you have been leaving newborn photography behind because of that, you've been leaving money on the table. We don't have to make a newborn into anything that they aren't. Period. End of story. Newborns are absolutely perfect just the way they are. In fact, I don't know if there's anything else that is more perfect. They don't need to be put into a flower pot or made into a bunny to be beautiful. There is a profound beauty found in the simplicity that is a newborn baby, and I aim to capture that. No more 4-hour sessions, no more unsafe and unnatural poses, just the pure beauty that is a newborn baby. My mantra in life, my mantra in photography, and my mantra when approaching newborn photography is connection over perfection. I am not a perfect photographer. I break a lot of rules. What I'm trying to capture is the perfection the connection that is present when you bring a newborn baby home. For example, in this photograph here, this little boy's hand on his newborn baby's head, his newborn baby brother's head, it could not be more of a connection point. The way that they are kissing him and loving this baby, that's what I'm going for. I love this quote by Ben Okri, where there is perfection, there is no story to tell. A baby on a generic, unconnected bed, so a bed that's not their own, or like that's not a family member's bed, a baby on a prop that doesn't belong to the family, that's not a story. That's just showing something that's perfect, but that's not meaningful to that family. It's not telling the story of that baby's life. Where there is connection, there is so much more of a story. Newborn photography is very powerful. I just want to tell a quick story about this mama because this is something that happens a lot. I often have mothers cry at my sessions, and in a good way. I walked into this home. This was her second baby. She was literally walking around while breastfeeding and, managing the toddler, looked amazing, had everything together, was just a boss. Sometimes those second moms, they just have it all together in the most beautiful way. And when I sat her down to take the photo of her and her family and her new baby, I said, look at what you have done. Look at this beautiful family you have created. You have created life. How amazing. And she cried. And she said, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm crying. And I said, it's okay. And she said, later, after she saw the photos, she said, I don't think anyone had really seen me as a mother until you saw me with your camera. And I get stories like that from families all the time because what we are doing is powerful. We're stopping to see what they have just done, what they have just experienced, what they are experiencing. We're not telling them they have to wear a white gown and their baby has to be a certain way, like sleep or whatever. We're letting it just be as beautiful as it is. Lifestyle is just a word. So I use the term lifestyle because photographers and humans, we really like to define what we do with words. That's normal. But I don't get caught up on that. So I want you to kind of know that we're learning about lifestyle, but don't get caught up on the word. Just think about how you want your work to feel. Lifestyle photography can be really difficult to define, and it seems that every photographer has their own unique definition. And what I think lifestyle photography means is that the photographer is straying away from stiff and posed portraits to instead capture deep and meaningful imagery. A lifestyle photograph breaks the surface and captures a piece of the person who's being photographed, not simply what they look like, but who they actually are. Lifestyle photography can often overlap with both traditional and documentary photography. However, it has its own unique definition. So I like to think that lifestyle sort of sits comfortably in between traditional and documentary photography. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. And by the way, I do a little bit of every type in all of my shoots. So full disclosure, I will always be very honest with you. This is the most posed pose that I do. So traditional is more of a posed photograph. It is, a cleaner background. You're kind of controlling the elements a lot more. I do a tiny bit of traditional posing, and I wanted to show this photograph of a baby awake because it's very common for newborn photographers to think that the baby has to be completely asleep for their shoot. They don't. You can actually still get some of these cozy poses when the baby's awake. So for me, traditional photography means that it's much more posed. When I think about lifestyle, what I think lifestyle is a fantastical portrayal of reality. So yes, this baby was actually yawning and this dad was actually holding the baby. But what I did was make it into something more beautiful by composing it in a different way, making sure that they were in good light and, standing above them to get this really unique perspective. So, for example, a family might not naturally pile up on the master bed, sitting straight up, looking at their new baby. They may not do that naturally, but the emotion that's created when we do that is real. That's very real. So that is what I'm talking about. Lifestyle, you are actually very much in control. And documentary is completely unscripted. This is a photograph that I took at a shoot recently where she was changing the baby's diaper. I shoot through all the moments. And so this is, I didn't do anything to make this moment happen. She had just been breastfeeding the baby. Her shirt was off. She took the baby to the bathroom to change his diaper. And I stood back. And of course, I composed it in a way that, was pleasing, and I got this reflection in the mirror. But that is what documentary is. It's unscripted. You stand back and sort of observe. And so you do a little bit of all three types when you're a newborn photographer that's in the home, but I do focus mostly on lifestyle. So who should be offering this in their business? Who should be offering lifestyle newborn photography? If you are a family or wedding photographer, you should be offering lifestyle newborn photography, because if you're a wedding photographer, guess what? They're going to have babies. If you are a family photographer, there are going to be babies. This is a highly profitable, zero slow season business. And if you've been shying away from it or worried that you needed props, that you needed a studio, that you needed all of the things, you don't. And highly profitable. I charge $1,200 per newborn session. And I told you I do about 2 to 5 a month. So you can do the math. Do I need a studio or artificial light? You do not. I don't own one artificial light. I do not own a flash. I do not own a reflector. I do everything in home. I live in Seattle. It's dark here. I can still do it in home. Promise. You do not need a studio. These are all limiting beliefs. These are things that some industry professionals like to tell new photographers so that they don't get in their way. They're worried about them taking their business. I believe in abundance. There's enough business for all of us. You do not need a studio. You do not need artificial light to execute this. The only thing that you need is a camera. Isn't that amazing? I show up into my newborn shoots I do have 2 bodies. I actually usually only use the Canon R5 for my newborn shoots, and I'll switch between the 35mm or the 50mm, but generally just the 35mm in the home. That's it. You only need one camera and one lens. But guess what? There is going to be a lot of posing and directing involved, even with lifestyle. That is such a myth when people say, oh, I like all the candid moments and the in between moments. Sure, I like those too, but you have to be the one that's in charge. You have to be the one that's posing and directing. You are the creative director of your shoots, any shoot that you do. So think about what's going on for a family with a newborn. They are going to need this situation, you coming in to photograph them, to be as stress-free and easy as possible. And in order for that to happen, you need to have a plan. You need to be in control. They need you to be the expert. I tell the family that the baby leads the session. When the baby wants to eat, they eat. When the baby wants to be held, the baby's held. I do not try to get photographs of the baby alone, and I do not pose if the baby is not into it. If the baby wants to be held the whole session, I let them. I usually can get a few shots of the baby outside of the parent's arms, and I do that, but the baby leads, and my posing is baby led. I only put the baby in positions that are safe and natural. I will never put a baby in a position that is not safe or natural. You can download the newborn safety guide at the end of this webinar if you'd like. We'll include it as a bonus. I am very passionate about safe newborn photography. I used to be a NICU nurse. Safety should be your number one concern. And I believe baby-led posing is the safest way to pose a baby. I don't think a baby should be put in a pose that needs a spot or that might compromise their breathing or their circulation. So baby-led posing is the way to go. I honestly believe that babies belong in their parents' arms. Again, I'm going to go back to I used to be a nurse, and bonding is very important in the first month of life. Yes, it's okay to take them out of their arms for a few photos, but the babies should not be out of their parents' arms for that long. When photographers claim that a session is going to be 2 or 4 hours long and that parents shouldn't be in the room and all kinds of things that I just feel are not safe. Babies should be near their parents. The parents should be nearby, and you can get great portraits of the babies in their arms. So where will the newborn shoot take place? I am 100% in the home. And so often the shoot takes place in the master bedroom, but really it's going to take place where the light is best. Here are my key considerations. So these are, if I had to take the top 3 key considerations for a lifestyle newborn shoot, these would be them: connection and emotion, light, and the environment. So let's first talk about connection and emotion. When someone views my work, I want to evoke an emotional response. I want you to go ahead and push those boundaries. Think about, it's okay to show a mom breastfeeding. It's okay to show a baby crying. It does not have to be perfect. Remember, connection over perfection. I want people to feel something when they look at my newborn work. Emotional connection is going to lead to client satisfaction. If you show a mother a photograph and that is perfect, and she's got her hair done and she's wearing this perfect white dress and she's holding her baby in a weird, unsafe, unnatural pose, she's going to see something. She's going to see that her hair maybe wasn't perfect, or she might see that she's a little swollen from giving birth, because let's be real, you are after you have a baby. And if she sees things, she will be much less satisfied. But if you show a mother a picture like this, or a picture like this, she doesn't see anything, she feels something. And when she feels something, when she feels what it feels like to hold her baby, to breastfeed her baby, to bottle feed her baby, when she feels what it was like to see her husband or her partner hold her newborn, she will be a client for life, and she will love those photos. So how do we bring emotion into our newborn work? It starts with you. You need to be relatable. You need to be vulnerable. It really, really starts with you. You have to be willing to open up to your clients. You don't have to be an extrovert, but you have to be relatable. I want you to change your thinking. Stop using the word client. Fall in love with the families that you're photographing. I never call my families clients online. I will use that word when I'm talking to you from an educational standpoint, but I don't, because I want there to be a deep emotional connection, and that helps me connect, and that helps me bring the connection out in my work. Think about how you want your newborn work to feel, not just how you want it to look. So think of some emotions that you would like to evoke with your newborn work, and I would invite you to pause this video right now and write down some words that pop into mind. And I'm going to share with you some of mine. I want my newborn work to feel serene. I never want the baby to look stiff or unnatural. I want them to look serene. I want to capture wander, newborn wander. That is a new life with their whole story ahead of them. I want to capture that. I want to capture togetherness. I like my newborn work to feel easy like Sunday morning. I want to capture the intense love and attachment that is present when you have a newborn baby. All right, let's talk a bit about light. I recommend always doing in-home newborn shoots in the late morning. Babies are less fussy at that time, indoor light is prime at that time of day. So I usually do my newborn shoots at 10 a.m. Make sure that you turn off any of the lights that are overhead. And I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but make sure you do that anywhere that you are while you're touring the home. So you want to do a little tour of the home. You want to walk around the home and see where you're going to shoot and choose where you're going to shoot. And you got to let light be your guide. Never shoot in a room that does not have good light. I only need one good window. Sometimes I'll do the whole entire shoot in one room on one bed. I live in Seattle. Homes are small here. They're dark. It's really expensive to live here. So even $1 million home can be teeny tiny and not have great light. So I just need one window. That's what I always say. Be the expert. Do not shoot in a room with bad light. End of story. You will regret it. Again, make sure all overhead lights are off. That is such an easy and pro tip. Just a little thing here to tell you that I am not afraid to push the ISO way up. Thank you, Canon, for making that possible for me. This was shot at 4000 ISO. If you're exposing properly, it's okay to push your ISO. Let's talk a little bit about environment, because you do need to be mindful of the environment. Of course, once in a while, I will get a family that lives in a palatial home and I'll move around the home and I'll use the kitchen like I have here. But what really inspires me is the connection. I don't need a large home. I don't need a fancy home. This was a teeny tiny house, and this was I wouldn't say they had a master suite even. This was their bedroom. It had great light. And so I do compose using the environment like I did here. But what's really most important to me is the connection, is the baby, is the connection with that baby. And this is a palatial home, small home. I'm capturing the connection. I'm capturing the baby. I only need one good window. The environment is not what guides me for my shoots. It's the connection. I really rarely feature clients' homes in my work. If you go look at my portfolio, you'll see that. I prefer clean and simple. If they have a busy comforter on the bed that I'm working on, I will pull back and use the sheet if the sheet is solid. I try to keep my newborn shoots in very neutral tones, and I educate the clients on that beforehand. I think that busy prints, busy colors really distract from the perfect newborn that we're capturing, and I advise them to keep things really simple with clothing, and I like to have just a white onesie if we're going to have anything on the baby at all. Remove clutter, any area that you're going to be in. I tell the family not to clean up for me, that we will clean up when I get there. I just remove clutter in the area that I'm shooting. That's all. So how do you set yourself up for a successful newborn shoot? You got to prepare the family. You should never have to convince someone that this is the right approach for them. There are people who really want posed newborn photography, and that's great. They should go to someone who offers that. They should go to a genius newborn photographer that does that. I only want to attract families that want my style of photography, and you do that by showing this style of work. You need really clear communication, really good education, and a portfolio that's in line with lifestyle. This starts with your website and social media. Again, you should never have to convince anyone that they want this style. It's abundant. There are other photographers for people who want a different type of style. A person who wants lifestyle newborn photography will never want posed photos, and vice versa. So you want to make sure that what you're putting online, this is a screenshot of my online portfolio. It's public, ElenaSBlairPhotography.com. You can go look at it if you'd like. You want to make sure that they are seeing what you are offering. And so my newborn photography portfolio is all lifestyle. Same with what they see on Instagram. It is all lifestyle newborn photos and lifestyle family, of course, as well. So this is Instagram, this is website. That's how you first start the communication before they've even inquired. The next opportunity to educate is on inquiry. So when they inquire for a newborn session, you actually have to assume that maybe they didn't even look at your portfolio. That happens sometimes. So you want to let them know when a newborn session is going to take place. You want to let them know what kind of photographer you are. If you are a lifestyle photographer, you got to talk to them about that. And you want to give them examples of your work. I send them to my portfolio as well as a blog post so they can get a little sample. And I also send them to my price. So how do you create a meaningful session experience? You must be prepared and you must be the expert. Again, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. You got to be the expert. So when you get there, gauge the vibe of the family. You'll know if it is okay to be a little louder, if they need you to be a little softer. It's kind of like a mirror. So gauge the vibe and make sure that you're matching them and meeting them where they are. If you feel stress, make sure that you're being a little more low key. Remember, you got to start the connection with you. New mothers really need to be encouraged. And this is a photograph of me at my mastermind retreat. I have a group coaching program. And so this is at a studio. I don't usually shoot in studio, but it's a picture of me shooting because it's behind the scenes. I have a retreat for my masterminds. And moms are feeling a little bit, I always say moms, I know there's dads there too. Actually, the whole family really is a little insecure usually about being photographed. Most people aren't really great behind the lens. Or in front of the lens. So you want to make sure that you're constantly encouraging them. You look beautiful. You're doing great. Don't worry about the toddler who's being bananas over there. It's fine. We're all fine. Lots of encouragement. The power of touch. Now, I know that during, during COVID, touch was a little weird, but I wear masks to my newborn shoots still. Most times I test myself before my newborn shoots. It's very important to feel comfortable touching your clients. And it's also very important to encourage your clients to touch each other. This really brings out more connection for everybody and helps everyone to relax. There's so much power in breath. If your families look stressed, ask them to exhale. Ask them to breathe their baby in. When you say breathe your baby in, they understand. Breath is very important in connecting and relaxing. And there's so much power in empathy. Having a baby is intense. So if they seem stressed or if they seem like they're not connecting, have empathy for them. Say, I understand what you're going through is so intense right now. I know that breastfeeding can be really hard. If you haven't had children, you can say, my goodness, look at what you're doing right now. It is so powerful. Empathize with them. Connect with them in that way. All right, here is my shot list. Here is my my newborn session shot list. You can take it, you can use it. This is the exact order that I go in every time. Why do I have a shot list? It keeps me organized. It allows me to stay in control, and it ensures that my families get a well-rounded gallery. I want to make sure that they are going to get a gallery that's in alignment with my portfolio. I start with the siblings always. Why do I start with the siblings? Because I know from experience that those siblings are going through a lot and they may ditch me. If there are siblings in the household, they're only going to be interested in me for like 5 or 10 minutes. And so I always tell the family, we're going to get the siblings out of here quickly so that we can focus on the baby and focus on the connection between the parents and the baby. Because the siblings just, if they're not interested, I don't make them be interested. So start with siblings. For the very same reason, move on to family. I've been photographing this family since they were pregnant with the second. They've got 4 boys here, squirrely boys. Yeah, we started with the boys. We did it quickly and we let them move on. That toddler there was only 18 months old. So there's a lot of boy energy in this household. So you want to do siblings first and then the family so that if the siblings are overwhelmed, they need to go watch a show or get a snack or whatever, they can move on from you. Next, I focus on mom and baby. And this is because usually if I just got rid of the siblings, I want dad to go and hang out with the siblings. Obviously, safety is important. So I say, okay, mom and baby, let's just take photographs of you and the baby. I really feel like the moms in the families are often the ones who are the photographers, even if it's just with their phone. So I want to give the moms some extra love and make sure that I get these shots. I do take breastfeeding photos if the mom is breastfeeding. And a question that I get asked often is, how do I convince the mom to do that? I don't have to, because there's a lot of breastfeeding photographs on my website. Again, you attract what you put out there. Next, I focus on dad and baby. So this would be when I would say, if the siblings needed help, I would say, okay, mom, you go help out with the siblings. We're going to make sure dad and baby get a little time together. Now I want to focus on parents and babies. Remember, I really like to romanticize the family life. And so I do spend some extra time on parents and baby. Even if they're siblings, we already got the family shots. This is the new baby. This is what the focus is. After that, I go on to baby alone. When I'm posing the baby, I make sure the baby's comfortable first. I usually do this after a feeding. After we've done all those other shots, baby usually needs a feeding. I place the baby, I observe, and I adjust. Simple as that. I don't force the baby into a position that is not natural for them. When I put a baby into a position, I maximize each pose by capturing as many different angles and details as I can in that one pose. And if there's any interactions that are happening with the baby and anyone around them, I'll strengthen those by kind of guiding them a little bit more. My newborn sessions, are family focused. The babies rarely leave their parents' arms. This is a beautiful detail shot taken while mom was holding the baby because the baby was fussy. You do not need to remove the baby from the parents' arms that much. So I start with the baby swaddled and I get a headshot. I will try tummy if they're into it. I move the baby from there to their back if they'll allow it. Maybe the side if they don't like their back. And then I'll capture some normal, natural movements. Parents can help with individual newborn photos, and it offers a great opportunity to capture some connection. So I'll have the parents put their hands there to help me pose the baby, slowly remove, and then that's the end result. Capture every single detail in between. Keep your eyes open. There's so much beauty happening in newborn photography, or in newborn photo shoots. Keep it simple. Break some rules. Make art. I want you to know that I offer a full lifestyle newborn photography course that has helped thousands of photographers from all over the world. I also have a lifestyle newborn photography behind the scenes bundle where you can see me photographing 3 newborn sessions as well as a maternity session. I want to invite you to join my education community. If you liked this webinar, you will undoubtedly get a ton out of these courses. I want to help more newborn photographers make meaningful art that's safe, that's going to really impact the world in a way that is a lot more natural and a lot more, I think, meaningful, like I said. So I hope that you'll join my community. Thank you for watching this webinar. Please make sure to share with your friends, and I'll see you next time.